Hey YouTube, this is Alice at Wonderland Speaks. This is December 6th, 2020. I'm going to talk about something a little different today. Of course, like so many of us, I have been watching a lot of YouTube videos, and one thing that keeps coming up is black and white. And I was watching one yesterday, I think it was, and I thought to myself, there's something I can contribute to that. And so what I've done is I've jotted down a few things. And again, I certainly hope everybody will stay through the end of the video. I think there's something there for everyone who's interested in black and white. And of course, I want everyone to subscribe and post, and please comment. Let me know what you think if you want to hear more about this specific topic. Again, as I said, I'm Alice at Wonderland Speaks, and I can be reached at Wonderland Speaks. Okay, this Vlogmas is why I date white men. Now, I'll start out by saying, are those the only men I date? No, absolutely not. But the point is, I do date white men. One, I have 10. I wanted to know what it was like. Growing up, like so many of us, I heard a lot of things. You know, you hear they smell like dogs. You hear all sorts of things. But I wanted to find out for myself. The question is that I would hear from people when they found out I dated outside my race. Was there a difference? Yes, there is a difference. Now, some people would have you believe that all men are alike. No, they're not. No, they're not. It's just like all women are not the same. Men are not the same. We bring with us our cultures. That comes into everything else that we do. You know, that's a part of our DNA. So they're no different. Let's see, what's the next one? Never date a white man who's never dated black women. That's a big no-no, because you're a novelty to him, you're a curiosity, and he'll never take you seriously. You'll just be somebody he wants to see in the dark. And you never want to date any man, no matter what color he is, who only wants to see you at night, or he doesn't want to take you around anybody. You don't want that. You never want that. Not of any man, and certainly not a white man. I find white men to be more outgoing. What do I mean when I say that? I mean, they tend to be more willing to do things. We all have dreams and aspirations of different things maybe we want to do, wanted to try. I find them more willing. Even simple things, like going to the grocery store, going shopping with you. At one point, many years ago, I was curious. I was in the mall and walking around, and I see all these white men with their women. And now, does that mean there aren't any? And I'm not here to defend black men. Not at all, okay? Because I married a black man, okay? More than one. But I also dated a white man. I am, one would say, I don't discriminate. I date all men. And there's a reason for that. But I digress. Okay, so as I said, I found them more outgoing, social acceptance. It's just like when athletes, celebrities, you find, as a black woman, we find that the average black man, no matter what he says on the face of it, when he reaches that upper echelon financially or whatever the case may be, there's usually a white woman on his arm. Now, is that every, I know I'm going to offend some people, and they're entitled to that, okay? There's no way you're not going to offend somebody no matter what you say. You can't please everybody, and I don't try, okay? I'm here to please me and to share my experiences. This is not a survey I've done asking for opinions of this. These are my experiences, okay? So, for everybody who's ready to throw out and, have these attitudes and let me know what they think. YouTube is out there for everybody, and they can make them a YouTube video and say what they think, okay? Or they can comment on this video. And again, for those who want to see more of this, I got a whole lot more. I started dating white men in my 30s. So I'm in my 60s now, so that's a lot of white men. No, not really. I'm not a big dater. I'm not. I don't date a lot. I tend to stay in one lane. If I'm with one person, I'm with that person. I don't date around. I never have. Anyway, networking. I find that white men have the hookup. They always know somebody that knows somebody. And that always fascinated me. I recall a situation. I had just bought a house. And I don't know how long I'd been in my home, but the hot water tank went out. I was dating a white guy. And so I'm on the phone talking to him, and I tell him, my hot water tanks went out, and, I'm in a panic. What am I going to do? And he says, oh, now keep in mind, I was in a panic. That's what I was used to doing. I didn't know what I was going to do because I had no idea what it would cost to fix this. And he says, oh, don't worry about it. I know a guy. I said, what do you mean you know a guy? Now, this was not a guy that I was in a serious relationship with. We were dating. We were sleeping together, but we didn't live together. He lived in his house. I lived in mine. He says, oh, I know a guy. I said, okay. So that Saturday, he came over with a guy. They switched out my hot water tank, put a new one in. I lost the afternoon. I had a hot water tank. I said, how do you know this guy? He says, oh, he tells me the story. I said, I don't know how I can thank you. I really appreciate you, doing this for me. That's one of many examples. Okay, let's see, what else? They're more willing to please. Again, just like their curiosity to you, your curiosity to them, because they only know what they have been told, okay? Just like us. That's all they know. So they're trying to find out just like you, but there's a big difference. In my mind, I feel like I have the upper hand. Why? Because throughout our history, we've always had to know more about them than they've known about us. And this is not just in history, that's through life. We always have to know much more about them. That's why we know more about their habits and things that they do and how they feel, how they think. We always have and we always will. That's just the way it is. So with that in mind and so many other things, we've spent a lifetime studying these people. So of course we know them. So with that in mind, we have the upper hand. So I go into these situations with that mentality, and they have a lot of questions. And I'm fine answering these questions. Like they ask questions about our hair. Everybody knows how black women are about their hair. Or they'll ask questions about, why don't black people like to get in the pool? Why don't they know how to swim? And, things like that. I remember the first white guy I dated, seriously. The first date he took me on was to his boat. And it was at night. I said, "Are you serious?" Now keep in mind, I was new at this at the time. And I wasn't sure I had never kissed a white guy, never been touched by nothing. So I was scared. He didn't know it, but I was. I was really scared. But I was fierce. I was determined to see what all the fuss was about. And there's some other little underlining things too, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But the point is, he was a little older than me, not a lot. I was late 30s, I think, and he was, I think he was early 40s, so there wasn't a big age difference. One of the first questions I asked him was, had he ever dated a black woman? He told me, oh yeah. He wasn't lying. He wasn't lying. He had dated a few black women. So that made me feel more comfortable, which means I didn't have to go through this whole orientation, so to speak, and explain certain things to him. I didn't have to do all that because I didn't want to, and I didn't have to. He made me feel at ease right away. And so we had 2-3 year relationship. So anyway, let me see what else. Very supportive, and they're not just they're not just supportive in a sense of, giving you an attaboy. Again, as I pointed out, they're enormous networkers. They always know somebody that knows somebody. So they can hook you up in so many ways. And again, keep in mind, when this relationship is long over, and that is if that's the case, and it ends amicably, you're still friends, you can go to that person years later if you need something, and they will help you because there's no hard feelings, okay? And you always want somebody that you can call on in a time of need. Okay, let's see. And they're more likely to have good credit. Now, yeah, just like everything else I've said here, it's going to be a lot of people who say, black men have good credit. I know all that. But my point is, they're more likely to have some plastic. They're more willing to make a big purchase. They're just more willing. Like I said, they're more willing to please. They want to please you if they want you. If they want you. I don't mean just sex. I mean they want you. They're more willing to please. Now you might say, there are those out there who might be saying, are you saying black men don't try to please? Yeah, but they got a limit to how they please. Okay, for example, if you say to, I don't know how many times I went to a concert or something, and you got a whole bunch of black women sitting up in there. They don't have a date. They don't have a date. They don't have a date. But if they were dating a white man, he wouldn't. And this was a question I used to ask white guys. Why is it when your woman or wife goes to the store, why are you with her? Why can't she go to the store by herself? I said, it's not that she can't go by herself. It's that she's my woman, and it's part of my job as a man is to protect my woman. And one of the ways that I do that is to be there with her. That's why, when I asked the question, he looked at me like he thought he couldn't understand why. And again, that's one of the differences in the cultures. Now, does that mean black men never go anywhere? You know, the only people going to take issue with what I'm saying are people who you're stepping on their toes, if you get my drift. And there are people who understand exactly what I mean. Otherwise, this isn't going to offend you. As I said, this is my experience. I'm not speaking for other people. I'm only speaking for me. And the last one, number 10 is sex. Is there a difference? Yes. Yes. Yes, there is a difference. There is absolutely a difference. I don't care what people tell you. There is a difference. Okay, so, again, if you want to know more, or I may just make another video on this, just because, you know, or just as some people would say, just on GP, I may, because there's so much of this to talk about. There are people out there with whole YouTube channels that talk about nothing but this. And trust me, I have lots I could say, okay? Lots I could say. Currently, I date Spanish. Now, you might say, Spanish? I thought you dated white men. I do date white men, okay? But years ago, when I moved to Las Vegas, I decided, before I got here, I assessed the situation, and I guess you could say it was my game plan. First of all, I said to myself, I was not going to make the same mistakes I had made in my past. I did not want to go through all the things I had went through before in my life. I wanted things to be different. And I know in order for that to happen, I was going to have to do it differently. And what did that mean? I was going to have to see me differently. You might say, well, what does that mean? You hear a lot of people now say things like, know your worth. Know your worth. And they were basically referring to in the job market. But you know, that actually can apply to anything, and especially in relationships. Not just man, woman, just people. You have to know your own worth. And when you do, you can demand more. You can demand more. I can remember when I was very young, I don't know, maybe 19, I had a party. I used to have parties every year. Big parties every year, in addition to all the other parties I would have. But this was Christmas party, because my birthday is in December. My mother's birthday is in December. I have a brother's birthday that's in December. Of course, there's Christmas and New Year's. So I would have a party during December, usually around my birthday. So it would be sort of like a birthday party. I had a guy at my party, and the party was dwindling down. Most of the people were gone, and everybody knows what that means. When you got stragglers hanging around and they're still talking, but they're intoxicated. And this guy said to me, and I'll never forget it. He said, you just don't know what you have. And it had been a long night. I was tired. And one thing I don't do at my parties is I don't get intoxicated, because it's my house. And I'm not going to ever not know what's going on. Not just about me, but everybody at my house. I'm going to always know what's going on. So no, I was not intoxicated. Yeah, maybe I had smoked a joint or something, had a drink or something, but that was spread it out and never not knowing what's going on. But the point is, I heard him, and then I put him out of my house. Because I heard him, but it didn't really resonate with me. I think years later, it just stayed with me. And that's one of the things I want to leave with you. It's important for you to know your worth in relationships. Because if you don't know what you're worth, then a person can just get you for nothing. Okay? And as my mother would say, you start them out the way you want them to go. And and she was never more, that sums it up. If you start out allowing a man to not take you out, not do things that you want him to do, thinking he's going to grow into it, you're in for a rude awakening. You're getting the best he's got when you meet him. That whole analogy of I'm going to teach him, he's going to learn, you're going to be really disappointed. The only person going to learn in that scenario is you. Is you. You get his best when you get him, because what you learn is he's doing the best he can when he meets you to try to get you. He's going to put his best foot forward. It's sort of like when you go for an interview and, you know, the interview is asking you all these questions and you want to, you know, you want to put your best foot forward because you want that job. Well, it's the same way when you meet a man and he's trying to get with you. He's putting his best foot forward. Like if you have a thing about punctuality and the first time he's supposed to pick you up for a date, he's late. Well, you're not supposed to let that slide. You're supposed to let him know it's not acceptable. Now you might say, oh, you being too hard. I've lived a long time. Okay? You don't want to let anything slide when you meet him, because you will live to regret it. If he's showing up at your house and he got sneakers on and he done clean himself up, he just shows up to your house any kind of way. Now keep in mind, you know, as women, we go through a lot. We do a lot, you know, a lot. I heard Cat Williams tell this joke in one of his comedy specials, and he talked about, I mean, even he recognizes we as women, we do a lot on top of, you know, our hair, makeup, our bodies, pedicures, manicures, massages, waxing. I mean, it's endless, the things that women do. How many of those things that we do, how many of those things do you think men do? Some of them don't even brush their teeth. They show up to your house hygienes. You know, they don't even take a bath. The man that I have been dating now for almost 15 years, I have never smelled his body foul. Ever. Ever. That fascinates me, because how can a man not? And he works a lot. A lot. Never. I mean, I've smelled sweat in bed, but that occurs in bed, not when I get with him. Ever. Never, ever, ever. You know? So, but I have dated men where I've had to have that conversation. And that's what I'm talking about. Everything I'm saying here, these are my experiences. So again, that disclaimer, I'm not here to offend anyone. These are my experiences, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. I just want everybody to be happy. And I know that dating outside your race is not everybody's cup of tea. I'm only saying that as women, we're about 8 to 10. No, I think now we're about 15 to 1. If you don't broaden your horizons, you're going to be alone a whole lot. So it's important to have an open mind and be willing to try different things. And when people say that, they're just referring to dating outside your race. And as I said, when I decided to come here, I wanted to do things differently. So it wasn't just dating I wanted different, or the kind of man I date different. I want to approach it differently. Meaning it was important for me to know my worth. You know, what I bring to the table. And there's no price on what I bring to the table. Okay? Because keep in mind, you think you're going to be young and youthful forever. It's fleeting. You know, where I'm at now, I never thought I'd be here. Mm-mm. No, I'm no different than anybody else. I thought I'd be young forever. But we know that's not true. I'm up on a birthday right now. Right now. The 16th. I will be 65. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. 65. The man that I date is in his 40s. I don't really like older men are my cup of tea. They never have been. Maybe I blame my mother for that. Growing up, she used to tell us as girls, she said, old men give you worms. So that stuck in my head like so many other things that she would say. So I never was attracted to older men. So does that mean I've never dated a man my age? No, that's not what it means. I think every man I married was older than me. So, absolutely. I've dated men older than me. Matter of fact, when I first moved here, 2000 and what was it? 8, I think. I met this man, black man, older, much older. I mean, I'm sure whomever's watching this, even when I said it, my face frowns, cringes. But I was trying to do what I had said I was going to do when I got here, which was to do it differently. I'm assuming that doesn't apply to everything because I did date this person for a while, a short while. I think, I don't know, maybe 6 months or something. I couldn't get past. I couldn't get past the age, even though he'd asked me to marry him, and I said yes. I did. I said yes, but I was terrified. I was terrified, you know. I mean, I was in my 50s and early 50s, but he was 70 something, I think. All I was thinking about at that moment was he's got a good pension and, you know, all the things we girls think about. Well, I couldn't do it. So I didn't do it. And it didn't happen. We never slept together. That was great. We never slept together. So, no, he liked to take me out to dinner. He did what old men do. They like as they say, pretty young thing on their arm. He liked to take me places and, you know, buy me gifts, do all the things older men do. But you know what? I know I'm silly. But anyway, as I said, I have dated white men. I will continue to date them. I will always date outside my race. Does that mean I don't date black men? No. Some of my best friends are black men. Does that not sound like a cliche when white people are asked about black people, when they say, oh, some of my best friends are black people, you know, or I have a black friend. No, I still like black men. I don't love them, but I still like them. I find them attractive. Do I find them as attractive as white men? No. No, I don't. Now, I can remember even as a very young girl in high school, we had the substitute teacher come, and I don't know what class it was, but he was blind. And I thought he was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. I never told anybody. I never said anything to anybody, but I was mesmerized. You know, nobody ever knew. I just looked at him in class, and that was the extent of it. It wasn't like it is now. This was, when was this? This was in the 70s. Nothing happened. Absolutely nothing. He didn't even know I existed. I hadn't even blossomed yet. So it was just something in my mind. I'm just saying. This is not something that, a passing fad for me. I've been doing this a long time. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying every white man is great. I don't care what culture you're in. Not every anything is great. There are pros and cons in every situation. I'd love to talk about it in another video. And perhaps depending on the response I get from this video, maybe I will. We'll just have to see. I hope I'll get some comments and some shares. And, you know, I haven't done this, but I've been encouraged to do this. I do want to thank my subscribers are starting to grow. And I'm excited about that. Of course, I want them to grow. I want 1,000 subscribers like everybody else. So yes, I want my channel to grow. I'm putting content out every day. And as I've always said, I do want to get better at it. I do. So with that, this is Alice at Wonderland Speaks. Please share, comment, and subscribe. And I want everybody to be blessed and be loved. Again, this is Alice at Wonderland Speaks.